So over the last few weeks, we've been talking about the fact that Solana's price is within this descending structure. Now, we of course did talk about the fact that yes, the price is going down and that's not going to necessarily feel good, but in the sense of reality, we will eventually get the break to the upside, usually from a descending channel of this nature. And although the price could continue downwards for a while, once we do get that breakout, we usually will get a little bit of consolidation and then move to the upside. So overall, yes, in the short term, they may not feel good, and then in the midterm, things may get a little bit boring, but in the long term, this is a beautiful setup for a continued strong move to the upside, as I do believe we will continue to chase all-time highs. And so because of that, and kind of knowing that in the short term things might get a little ugly, let me talk to you all about what I'm seeing right now, and then of course let me tell you about the strategy that I told you about a couple days ago that I am now still implementing. Now, I will let you know all of the buys and trades and sells and stuff that I'm doing is over on Margex right now. If you are looking for a platform to do leverage trades on in which you don't need to KYC, meaning you don't need to give them any personal information, you don't need to use a VPN anywhere in the world. You can just deposit funds and start trading. You can set stop losses, take profit levels. You can use your leverage as you please. You can go all the way up to 50x leverage here on a sliding scale, which is very easy and very doable. If you want all that stuff, go down to the link down below and you will get a couple $100s of deposit bonuses with my link. So go check Margex out and stop wasting your time on other platforms. But like I said before, let's talk about the right now for Solana. So now that we have a bit of a recap of what Solana's price has been doing and what our long-term outlook is, what we can see is that its price is now currently going straight through a key level of support. And although we've not lost this key level of support just yet, it seems as if we could be in position to lose this key level right around $82. This is a level that's held us up here on multiple occasions, here, and here. And if this level is lost, I am under the belief that Solana's price may continue even further downwards as low as $74 in the short term. And whenever we actually do zoom out a little bit and we look at our Bollinger Bands, you can see that we are getting rejected harshly off of that 20 simple moving average. And just like to the upside, when we're bouncing off of it and continuing upwards, we should do really well and continue, in terms of moving upwards. It's the same way on the downside. Once you start getting rejected, usually that's going to start to really force the price down. And it wouldn't surprise me to see the price continue to roll to the downside here to, like I said, retest $74 to $64. Now, on top of that, if we do go a little bit further out to our weekly charts, what you can see is that we're actually starting to get that roll of the RSI here on the weekly, and we're also getting this weekly MACD starting to converge a bit. Converge is basically just meaning that it is in a position in which it may attempt to get this bearish cross, and if that is the case, that is rather bearish, and for a much more macro sense, and that we may get some like pullback into consolidation and slow down for quite a while, a couple months before we do see Solana continue, and that card is still on the table. I'm not going to say that's not out of the question here, but it's definitely not something that I'm too worried about, because we have seen on multiple occasions recently like this convergence attempt but not complete, right? So we get close but we don't. We get close, but we don't. We barely did here, but then we didn't. So it wouldn't shock me if we did something similar, okay? So I'm not going to say for sure we're about to go on this huge macro pullback, but obviously it is something I'm paying attention to. And so because this rollover, because of this convergence, because what we're seeing on the daily charts with their RSI, because what we are seeing here with the 20 simple moving average rejecting us to the downside, I am still rather sure that we need to be very careful. I wouldn't be opening any leveraged long trades right now. I think that's a pretty bad idea unless you can just pay for the funding, which is crazy to do right now. What I would go ahead and say the two options that I would be implementing is either one, dollar cost averaging, like I told you all. I dollar cost average on every major support level while we're in a descending wedge. So I map out all these major support levels, and as we hit them, boom, dollar cost average, boom, bigger dollar cost average, boom, bigger dollar cost average, because I know eventually Solana will break to the upside 80 to 90% of the time. There's a minor, very small chance that it doesn't, and so because of that, I am going to be DCAing at currently $82, $74, and $64. I don't know which one of these is going to be the last one to bounce us out of here, and I'm not trying to make a bet, okay? I'm just simply going to dollar cost average more and more and more the further down into this thing we go, reducing that average cost, getting into profit much faster. So that's option number one. That's the option that I personally do prefer, especially in a macro bull market. Other option is that you can open up some short trades once these support levels are lost. So say $82 gets lost, the likelihood of us getting a pull back towards mid-channel, first and foremost, to retest this liquidity around 70, let's call this roughly $78, and then possibly even eventually going to $74 becomes extremely likely. And so a couple of short trades here isn't a terrible idea, but the issue is is that we know in the macro at some point we're very likely to bounce to the upside. So playing with fire with short trades here is just risky, and it's not worth the risk whenever you could just be simply DCAing and saving those funds for those macro long-term trades. Okay, and so because of that, those are the only two options that I'm executing on right now. And I think personally I'm only just going to dollar cost average at these key levels of support and just let this puppy ride. So overall, I hope you realize that this isn't something to be worried about. It's not something that I would be stressed about. Yes, your positions may be down, so are mine. At the end of the day, the macro says that we should break out, consolidate, and go upwards eventually, and so that's what I'm expecting us to still do. So I will continue to update you as this does play out. Remember, I post all of my buys, my portfolios, the things I'm looking at, extra research, extra videos, all that down in my Patreon below. And if you are looking to trade on leverage yourself, go ahead and use the Margex link while you are down there. But of course, I hope you guys did enjoy this quick Solana update, and I will update you all next time. See you, everybody.